Yeah, these are the possible definitions for the term lottery. Another definition, an event or an affair whose outcome is or it seems to be determined by chance. Anything, an outcome is determined by chance and not by anything. Oh, a bit to me, that is referred to as lottery. All right. Now, the term lottery, that word lottery, is actually borrowed from the French word, the Middle French word loterie. Okay, which, according to some scholars, it was also probably borrowed from the Dutch word loterij. And it means to draw lots. Okay, when we say lot, and your lot, no, rather a lot, as a dear or to chacha, or to prediction, or another word is destiny. And this is going back to the Germanic word huluta. So when we say lottery, we are simply talking about bibia. In terms of, you are not sure of it, so you are drawing something. It is a matter of chance and all that. So that is what we mean when we use the word lottery. And when we talk about lottery, three main characteristics. There are so many other things, but it's characterized by Neoma Miensa. Number one, it is a game of chance. And yet, adia eda hose, it has to happen this way. It is by chance. Number two is characterized by winning at the expense of others. In other words, ube winia, naturally say ubi beboka. That is what will make you win. Okay, and then the next characteristic is that it's an easy way to make wealth. Ube timianya sika, by a very easy means. In other words, another word that we can use for lottery is that it is a gamble. Okay, so lottery is a gamble. And there are several different ways in which people gamble. Okay, some examples: lotto tickets, slot machine, bingo, casino game, poker games, internet gambling, software casino, okay, betting. Nina fall under lottery because they are all gamble and they all operate on the principles now, the principle of chance, the principle of somebody winning at the expense of others, and the principle of making money from it. All right. Now let's just go into the world of lottery. I know a little, peek into it. Okay. Now, the key word in lottery is you may be a winner. That is it. So you are doing something, and the idea is that you may, and by all means, you may be a winner. So this is what needs to be noted by anybody or engaging in lottery. Say it is a matter of probability. Say you may be a winner. Now, I know a lot of you will remember this. Balloon kesiano, you will never get. Ube choose numbers in balloon kesiano, you never get. Simply because the owner of the shop, meaning the enemy who say, sa balloon we are na ye susana ye ube the owner of the shop would simply either say omubeyi sa balloon for example, in this one the balloon is in number 19. Okay, and one say ombe number 19 we ombe year free ho. They'll just remove it from the ticket. Until no matter what you do, you will not get. And I say balloon obi number 19 no more year free baby one abesha number 19 ho. Until no matter what you do, wenya. All right. But when we used to do it as kids, a game of chance. And you want to pay 10 pesos and get a big balloon at the expense of Obia or non-space, you have the same 10 pesos, no one a smaller balloon. Okay, so the principle of lottery was actually there even those days now, the balloon, and we know about the Uber call lotto kiosk, and then you go and then you pick numbers, they give you a ticket, and at the end of the day, they put it in a machine, and then the numbers that come out are the numbers that we would say, those are the numbers that have won. We also know about the lotto forecasters. Some papers be, and they are studying the paper, they are looking at it. This last year, and I said last week, therefore this year, better. All right. But the underlying issue in lottery is that there is always a question mark. You are not sure what will happen. But the bingo or getting the real thing is hidden from you. All right. We have the spinning. Okay. You spin and then you either win $600, $400, or you lose, or $300, but you may have to put some money down in order to spin. And when you spin, baby, a better piano. Maybe you put in maybe $500 and then you spin and then you get $500. So I say, and wait me ask spinning now 200. Wait me ask spinning now lose. It means you lose all your money. Wait me ask spinning now $700. It means you've gained and all that. So this one too, and a cha-cha. In the night, you see a group of young men gathered. Your friend cha-cha. It was also there. Now, the 21st century came and people started getting smart. And instead of, or something to do what we are talking about, you can simply do it on your mobile phone. It started with SMS to win. MTN, I send you BB. Just send an SMS and you stand a chance of winning. Just recharge your credit and do this or do that, and you stand a chance of winning. It's as simple as that. And then we're doing it. For example, they will say, oh, text, free text to short code, blah, 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 blah. You send it and they'll send you a message. Congratulations. You are now entered into our raffle for 2 tickets to the upcoming concert. Winners will be announced later. Winners will be announced. And then, yes, you hear that Obia Winnie, Obia Nyaka, just because what taxi say to MTN, and also what taxi say to Vodafone, Wanyaka, Wanya Yefie, Wanyatsi, Wanyasi. And you are like, you wish that you be the one to get this. And then it metamorphosed to betting, where you have to predict, you have to make a prediction. And then if your prediction comes to pass, then you have won. It is also a form of lottery because it stands on chance. Into sports betting, but we have other forms of betting, and also ebamu. And these are all. And then we have the Visa lottery, where you have to fill a form, send it to the US, and then they will do the ombeyebia, and then it's also a game of chance. You win, and then others will lose and all that. And then you become a citizen or you get a green card and RBB for the country. So these are the various forms of lottery. And because of people's interest in getting rich, getting this, getting that, we have a lot of examples of scams. And that by virtue of getting that money, you have to do this to claim your prize and all that. They have been able to scam a lot of people because people are interested in getting easy money. So the question is, which of them is okay for an Adventist? And I believe that is a question that is bothering our minds. For which is okay for an Adventist, my answer is simple. What does the Bible say? And so at this point in the discussion, I will move into the Bible. I am just going to give you the passages. If we would be able to understand how the Bible sees lottery. Into the first passage, I made Proverbs 13, verse 11. Proverbs 13, verse 11. Or say, wealth from get rich quick schemes. Okay, this is from the NLT, okay, the New Living Translation. Sika ubenya fi get rich quick schemes. Ubenya fi bibia. Yes, you want to get rich and tem upesu ye ufiti prekwa ye no. Or say such wealth quickly disappears. This is in the Bible. Wealth from hard works grows over time. Nemum sawudi edjumaden enya sika ede wo ho de a eyade a or say enyini it grows over time. So at least this is one principle that we need to note. Another one is Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse 10. Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse 10. Or say those who love money will never have enough. Sika pe, sika dono. Sa uyo bia upe sika pa, udisikechi ubi bia disikechi ya. Sika men woda. How meaningless to think that wealth brings happiness. The main idea is that people want to do this, and that's what person because Odwin say onya sika ehona ne energy ewo. Unfortunately, I'll say it is a meaningless thinking. Hebrews chapter 13 verse 5 or say keep your lives free from the love of money. Uyo Christonia, we Adventists are memma sikado sikape or say keep your life free from these things and be content with what you have. Ma dear owobiano and so we because God has said, never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. And now de ameja woda enti maweni so de wono. All right, enti mema weni emre sika. So this is the biblical principle. The last passage I made of 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 9 and 10. Or say people who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap and into many foolish and harmful desires. Omo pese omo nyasika omo ye no or say omo eto temptation mu omo to nsohwe mu. Okay, and into a trap you fall into afidiemu and many foolish and harmful desires that plunge men into ruin and destruction. And the oseye ebrel. So it is like men pesika anasi men disikechi abra. It has the tendency to bring you destruction and ruin. Okay, verse 10. Or say for the love of money. This is a very, very popular passage. Sikado any boni hini. The love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people eager for money have wandered from the faith and have pierced themselves with many griefs. They've wandered from the faith. Or how simply because they love money. So the point is, the Bible discourages greed, love for money at your own expense. That is the principle of the Bible. And so I am going to base on this principle of the Bible to say that and to ask ourselves what the Bible is saying. Number one, and they say, God frowns on greed and love for money. And when we talk about lottery in all the forms now, greed and love for money. Lottery is an expression of greed and love for money, which is the root of all evil. And that is why in lottery, you desire to be the one to win at the expense of others. And one thing you should know, the biblical principle is that any kwensa utimi you be a opesa ufum sika for only yourself. at the expense of others. Oh yes, a greed, a sikape, a sikanibre, a libre. The Bible frowns on it. It shouldn't be something that should be said of a Christian. It shouldn't be said of somebody who is awaiting the appearing of our Lord. So you should not do that. All right. Then the second principle, self-destruction. The Bible frowns on self-destruction. When we're reading Timothy, or say some people follow money and then they destroy themselves. Now, lottery is destructive because it is characterized by addiction. One thing you need to note is that lottery is addictive. Okay, it is like obinum we. That is how lottery is. It's characterized by addiction. People become so addicted that they end up using all their earnings. Now, coincidentally, I was counseling somebody. I mean, so you will not get to know the person. Just this week, the person was like, I am addicted. Normally, when people come to me on addiction issues and I have to help them out of addiction, it is with sex addiction, pornography, masturbation. Those are issues. But this time around, the person said he's addicted to gambling. Which type of gambling? Betting. Betting, it is not sport betting. It's a different type of betting. Somebody introduced him to it some 3-4 years ago. The first day, or the 350 Ghana, and he won more than 10,000 Ghana cedis, 10,500 cedis, just from 350 cedis. Yes, I know you are saying, wow. And that is brilliant. Now, tell you what happened, or see the next day, or hoping say or the another 350 cedis, another 10,000. But no, that day almost 9,800. 9,800 out of 10,000, 9,000 a cop. And from that day, he has been trying to be able to win back his 10,000 so that he will stop. Or say every time he loses, and so on to me enjoy. And I told him, yes, that is addiction. That is how betting, and I say any form of addiction does to you. And research, actually, according to the New York Daily News, 70% of, that's 2/3 of lottery winners will be engaging in any form of lottery. I'll be winning. 2/3 of them end up being broke within 7 years. Abrante American he ended up being broke within 1 day. The second day, he lost everything. But some people obey because the person is still engaged in the activity. No, so it is self-destructive. Anything addictive, it is not good for a Christian because and then the third principle I want to leave you is addiction to, and I say lottery is a waste of resources, because lottery involves investing into something that you know that you stand a chance to lose. When you invest into something that you know that, oh, wait there, I know I am going to get some benefits. If I say you go and buy a crate of eggs to sell, ubenya profit. It's an investment. It is not out of greed. You know, the chances of gaining are higher, but sewunim said chances of losing are higher. It is a waste of resources, because you know, say a bet to me more times say ube lusu saying say ube winning. The only reason why you are investing into it is that you are being greedy. And that is the problem of lottery. And he said that if that is the case, you are only wasting your money or your resources. And the Bible is against the waste of resources. When Jesus fed 5,000 with 5 loaves of bread and 3 fishes, and 2 fishes, Omudima ebikaya or say, gather the fragments so that there will be no waste. God hates waste. And this kind of waste is different from, say, oh yeah, baby, oh yeah, party. It may be a waste, but it may not be a waste to some extent. So, but they also said the principle of the Bible is that Nyankopon echi wastes. So you don't waste resources through gambling. What am I saying? I am saying that the summary of the maker in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31. Or see, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. So if you are engaged in any form of lottery, do it to the glory of God. Unfortunately, it cannot stand. Let me quickly read through the Adventist stance, the Adventist statement on gambling. This is what they are saying. Gambling, the Adventist Church defines gambling as a paid game of chance. And he says that it increasingly impacts more and more people all over the world. The concept of winning at the expense of others has become a modern curse. Society pays the costs, escalating costs of associated crime because of gambling. And there is crime, there is victim support, there is family breakdown, there is breakdown in eroding of quality of life. Nipa bebre abrabo say because of lottery, because of lotto, because of chacha, because of betting, because for example, I have had a relationship in which the lady is leaving her boyfriend because we invested 600 Ghana cedis into betting. Imagine that it happens in a marriage. Okay, so it's breaking down marriages, it's breaking down family, it is doing a lot, all right? It's destroying a lot of people. And so, also, Sunday Adventists have consistently opposed gambling as it is incompatible with Christian principles. Of course, I've already mentioned the biblical principles and arguments against engaging in any of it. Because now can you say it is not an appropriate form of entertainment or a legitimate way of getting money. And yet, adia ubeka si ediji enikeke anase enona nyamia yese yenfa enyasika. Gambling violates Christian principles of stewardship. Say nyankopon the talent amaye or the resources amaye, and we should use those resources because God identifies work ajuma as an appropriate method for gaining material benefits. Not the playing of a game of chance and dreaming to gain at the expense of others. Gambling has a massive impact on society. Financial costs result from crime committed to pay for gambling habit, increased policing, legal expenses. In other words, gambling, it has so much negative effect on society. Amount for engaging in drugs to be able to get money, to gamble. And it's like a lot of associated negatives to society. Gambling does not generate outcome. And yet, to say no, it's rather taking money from people who lose and giving it to a few winners. And most of the time, the winner is the gambling operator. So in terms of betting, the betting app, and I say in charge of the betting, winning more. That is why it is. So it is like it doesn't bring any money, rather it takes money from somebody who is vulnerable, who is poor, who has lost, and gives it to a few winners. And the majority winner or the biggest winner is the operator. The idea that gambling operations can have a positive economic benefit is an illusion because the ones that are for the nation, actually, what it means is that the nation is actually reaping people and then the nation is developing. It doesn't generate any form of income in any way. In addition, Gambling violates the Christian sense of responsibility for family, neighbors, the poor, and the church. Sikana anka odi beboa o family, odi beboa o neighbors, odi beboa church, no, and it goes waste. And that is the kind of waste that I think I talked about earlier on. Gambling creates false hope. And it has any hope. So the gambling dream of winning big, okay, replacing the true hope with a false dream of statistically improbable chance of winning. Because I mean, assuming it is a lotto, you pick 5 numbers out of 70 numbers, out of 69 numbers, your chances of winning are slim. And that is where the problem comes. Christians are not to put their hope in wealth. The Christian hope in a glorious future promised by God is sure and certain, unlike the opposite of gambling, which is left to chance. So the great gain that the Bible points to, or say godliness with contentment. Nyame sumo pa epinie ewom opene se de manyano de nyame de amame no esome eye. That is not to say don't work hard and make money. Work hard, make money, but you don't make money. Gambling is addictive. I think I already mentioned, and this addictive quality of gambling is clearly incompatible with a Christian lifestyle. We are Christian, and it is a habit to be, and also to me. So the church doesn't condemn people who are addicted, or say the church seeks to help, not to blame those who are suffering from gambling or other addictions. So if you have a gambling addiction, the church's role is to help you. And the church is inviting you to. This is the Adventist official statement. Christians recognize that they are responsible before God for their resources and their lifestyle. You are responsible to God. And so the Seventh-day Adventist Church organization does not condone raffles or lotteries to raise funds. And it urges members not to participate in any such activities, however well-intentioned. Maybe so me kwako loto me kwako chabet na manya sika na me de abebo ama yasi asori dan ama the church. No matter the intention, the means of getting the money is wrong according to the church's official stance. So neither does the church condone state-sponsored gambling. They said the national lotteries. No, the church does not condone it. So the Seventh-day Adventist Church says that it is calling on authorities to prevent the ever-increasing availability of gambling with its damaging effects on the individual and society. And the Adventist Church rejects gambling as defined above. The Adventist Church rejects it and will not solicit nor accept funding that is clearly derived from gambling. Assuming say a program be as a church, just sponsorship from say mybet.com and as a BB, because we don't accept that. And that is the church's official stance. Am I drawing any conclusion? No, I am not drawing any conclusion. I am simply saying, apply the principles of the Bible. Make sure whatever it is that you are doing, it glorifies God. Make sure that it is not characterized by greed. Make sure that you are not make sure that you are not doing something that is going to make or be, rather to suffer, gaining or winning at the expense of other people. And make sure that it is not a waste and it is not something that is destroying you. If only you do this, I believe so you will get to know which of the lotteries is okay for an Adventist. Until then, no, may the discussion no abba awiye. If there are any questions or comments or thoughts, I believe this is the time for it. Once again, thank you very much for your attention and God bless you all. Happy Sabbath.
Thank you, Doc. Okay, so please, if you have any question, you can post it in the chat box. And I smiled when you said you don't want to draw to any conclusion. We wish you could, because this is why we are here. We need to take a stance. We need to know what we have to do in situations like this. Senior kind of somebody can say, oh, I have good intentions. I'm doing it because I need it. Me here, you know, is out of necessity. Me here, and you say, yeah, I'm being greedy. So we really want, we wish we could have had a stance from you. What your personal view is as the facilitator, your stance on explicitly saying no, or
yeah,
from
so
what I
my
read.
stance is,
Yeah.
my stance at this point, I think I made it clear. Sir, my stance at this point is that anything characterized by greed, it is sinful before God. And honestly, I started by defining the characteristics of lottery, and greed is a major characteristic. And so, yes, there is no single lottery. I'll say, this one there, I am not being greedy. You are being greedy because it is not possible for you to double your money within 24 hours. It is naturally not possible. Statistically, it is not possible. And it's a call into that kind of a year, then you are being greedy. And I want to believe, sir, it makes you a greedy person. And you probably should not be a Seventh-day Adventist. That's my thoughts.
Thank you. All right, I see a few hands up. It's in patrol or question or you can post your question in the chat box, as I mentioned.
Can I speak?
RWC, me patrol out. Yes, RWC, you can go ahead.
Can I speak? All right, thank you very much. I want to ask.
Hello?
Doc, I think for the information. What I want, can you hear me?
Yes, we lost you for some few seconds.
Can you hear me?
So if you can come again.
Okay, sorry. All right, I said we really thank Doc for this information today. He has really given us a lot of information. What I want to ask is, as we know, this gambling, lotteries, betting has an addiction effect on the people. Does it also have the health-wise? Does it also have something like negative effects on their health? You know, people do this with their emotions, just like the sport betting. Somebody will be saying it's just one thing that has spoiled everything. People, they put their all in, their heart, everything. With this, I mean, cause any health problem for them, like heart attack and all that?
All right, thank you very much for that. And you see, when we are discussing the self-destructive nature of lottery, the major thing that comes in is addiction. It is addictive. But of course, the issue of the mental health, psychological health is also a very important aspect. Normally, we don't really talk about it because it's not much research has gone into it. But you are right. I agree with you, sir. In so many ways, and because of that, I think, sir, it is something that it is part of the self-destruction that we are talking about. And so once you are engaging in something that is self-destructive, then you should be able to say, sir, we should be able to say, sir, you are doing something that is wrong and sinning. I see a lot of people, you know, when I mentioned if I'm drawing any conclusion, you see, if I say I'm not drawing a conclusion, it's not to say, sir, I am not mentioning, sir, it is sinful. You see, I ended by reading to you the statement of the church. And the statement of the church is explicitly clear, sir. No form of gambling, okay? And when we talk about a gamble, we are talking about a wager, like something that you do by chance to get something. That is what it is. And it is the same definition for lottery. For lottery. Once you engage in that, you are not doing something in conformity with the stance of the church, because it doesn't agree with the principles of, Christianity and all that. If you're an Adventist, you should not be engaged in any form of gambling whatsoever.
Okay, clear. Thank you, Doc. I see one person's hand up. Osborne, we take your question and then we take the questions in the chat box. There are a couple of questions there. So Osborne, if you can unmute yourself. And let's please be brief with our questions. Yeah, mind go straight to the point because of time. Need to me take a lot of questions. Medase.
Right. Thank you very much. I would like to know whether investments such as stock investments, where you cannot predict the futures, maybe today the stock, let me say the asset is very low, so you can buy it at a lower price, but you can't predict whether tomorrow is going low or high. So in such an investment, will we classify that also as a gambling?
All right, thank you very much. The issue of investment. The Bible actually tells us to invest. When the passage that says to abodo gunsuneni dache wonsabekan, it's actually a passage that says invest. We'll read the next verse now, or say, invest in different ventures, and because you don't know which one would one day yield something good. There's nothing wrong with investment. But if your investment is being made with a greedy mindset, it's like somebody telling you you can double your money within 3 minutes or within 24 hours in this kind of investment, then there is a question mark in you investing in that, because say, doubling of the money within 24 hours and also within whatever, no. Idea realistic. You may get it, yes, but it's not realistic. And so it is only greed that will push you to go into that kind of investment. And so if I'm investing in stock, yes, it's not just stock. Anything you invest into. I made mention of buying eggs. Ubetumia Lucy all the eggs in your crate within a few hours, you can lose all your investment. It is possible, okay? But no interest investing into a venture like that, all right. In the same way, the stock, you can't tell. But the idea is the issue of greed that is in it. And for me, in most investments, people may just be investing because, okay, this is good. Maybe all the Usika to treasury bill or the Atowe, and you look for a higher one that will have higher returns. But if the returns are unrealistic, it is only greed that will push you into it. And that is where the problem comes in.
Okay, thank you, Doc. We'll take some questions from the chat box. The first one here is, if a member donates from gains of lottery, should the church take the money? I think you already mentioned this.
Yeah, I already mentioned, but I think I have to clarify, say.
Okay.
You see, the church will not directly solicit or accept funding from lottery, but the church doesn't see any money as bad money. If I am a member, I win a lottery, and I say I get money from prostitution. Nobody knows where I got the money from. I donate it to the church. Cool. There's no problem. Nothing happens, and we are okay. All right. Okay. But then there is that aspect of we soliciting money from. So what the church statement is about, soliciting money from a lottery, and as a BB, the church wouldn't do that. But if you bring your tithe, the church will not reject your tithes, because it is not that we don't have bad money at all. I don't know if this clarifies it.
Okay. It sounds a bit controversial, but I think it's clear. The next question is, okay, this study is timely and on point. God bless you. I would like you to really analyze the American or Canadian lottery where no money is required to put in your application. How does this equate to greed, wastage of resources, addictiveness, etc., as per what we discussed?
All right, so, and the question continues, participants do not win at the expense of others, and how does my participation affect others? Participating in these visa lotteries definitely affect others. Winning it will mean somebody is losing. If you don't participate, it means somebody else is winning and all that. So by all means, it affects others. But the question is, why do I even want to participate in this kind of venture? That is the main thing, all right? You see, lottery is lottery irrespective of the intention. Intention, let's say, me person me a Canadian citizen, me person me a American citizen. Why, what, for what? I am not saying it is wrong to be a Canadian citizen or an American citizen or whatever, but there is a component of greed actually in most of it. Obibe to me, acquire Canadian, American, or whatever citizen without necessarily having the greed in it. But most of the time in lotteries, it is characterized by greed. You talk about there's no waste of resources, but time is a resource. And we normally don't even see it, but it is a resource which most of the time we waste.
Okay, thank you. So I'll take one last question from here, and then I see 2 hands up, iPhone 2 and Auntie Martha. So we have here, Rocky from Agona, what about American lottery? Okay, I think you've touched on that. And then if from all this, you cannot explicitly tell whether lottery is right or wrong, then many people here will leave with an unanswered question. I think, Kofi, this one has been clarified. If you are not still not okay, you can just let us know in the chat box. So we go to iPhone 2, and then we take Auntie Martha's question as well. Then we go back to the chat box. iPhone 2, please. Yes. Hello?
Yeah, maybe I can.
Your line is breaking.
You can go to the next person. I'll try and get back on
okay, Auntie Martha, maybe you can put it in the chat box, please. Yes, Auntie Martha.
Hello.
Hi.
Pastor, so her program, and it is my wish that where we see all the youth, and then we can, we have you quotes from the Proverbs, how you can fool about. I just want to give some example of somebody who lives in my area and is in America. I learned he won a very huge lottery, a very huge money. And I can tell you, the man, the way he
Hello, Auntie Martha. I think we've lost you. Hello? Okay, I think we have lost her. So we go back to our chat box before I call Naasi. So the next question on our chat box is Ghana is most beautiful. Okay. And then if you can put together that and then the Bitcoin, what of Bitcoin?
Well, I think it is a form of investment. Somebody asked about stocks, and I think Bitcoin is another form of investment, as it were. And if you're putting your money in Bitcoin or buying Bitcoins is a greedy move, then you know where you belong. You see, the idea is, I do not want to reduce this discussion to a list of what is right and what is wrong. And that was why when I ended, I said, what is my conclusion? My conclusion is that it's not that any form of lottery is right and this one is wrong and this one is that. If you are engaged in an activity which is characterized by greed, which is characterized by, which is self-destructive and which involves waste, as we see in as characteristics of lottery, then you are not applying the biblical principles. I think that was my conclusion. So when I say I'm not concluding, what I was saying was, I am not going to give you a list. So if you begin asking what of this, what of this, what was this, we are looking for a list. But no, I am not giving you a list.
Okay, it's clear. There is no list, but it's all a sin, basically. Okay. The next question is, please, what about you searching for a job in a company and expect to be employed at the expense of others? How do we classify that one too?
All right.
Especially like the security services. Yeah.
Okay, so currently people are struggling to be selected into Ghana Immigration Service. There are a lot of people, there's space for only a few. Those people are not looking for ways of making easy money. We are talking about people who are looking for an easy way to, you see, the natural thing that God has left us is we will need to work and get money. So if I'm looking for a job, if I'm applying for a job, my work is that, my idea is that I want to work and get money and not to go get easy money. So yes, at every point in time, anyone here who is employed actually got employment at the expense of another person. But this employment at the expense of another person was not a matter of chance. It wasn't left to lottery. You were interviewed. I mean, you went through a process. So it wasn't lottery for you to say that you were greedy, you went at the expense of others, and that is not the issue in searching for a job.
Okay, thank you. We take the last one here before we go back to the hands. National Science and Maths quiz all have a prize and is subject to chance whether the school may win. What is your take on it?
Okay, I think, well, when you say it's subject to chance, it is not a matter of chance, it's a matter of performance. When you go into it, it is your performance that makes you win or lose. It is not chance, it's not lottery.
Okay, thank you. So I see Gover's hand, Kwenu. Please unmute yourself and ask your question. Okay,
oh,
seems
okay.
he's not
Good
ready.
evening.
Okay, yes, hi, good evening.
Please, please, my question is, for some time now, I've been staying with my grandmom for more than 20 years. And when she was about to pass, she said, the only source to my riches is that when she died, she will give me 3 numbers so that I can stick. In fact, all her life, I convinced her to give me those numbers, but they never came. It was when she had died. Then in my dreams, one time, she gave me those 3 numbers. Anytime I refused to stick those numbers, in fact, life becomes so hard for me. For 3 years, I was refusing to stick those numbers. But the day I stick it, it became an open door to my life. And that was the end of my poverty. Am I still classified as being a lottery guy?
Yes, you did. You engage in lottery. No matter what circumstances led, people dream, see numbers and all. What would we say if you had lost? If after winning, you had gone the next day and the next and the next and the next, and that brought you distraction. something can happen coincidentally, but the fact that it happened coincidentally and all that doesn't make the original, how do I say it? The original sin less of a sin, all right? The fact that somebody lied and it ended up well doesn't mean the person did not lie. So it ended up giving you a blessing, but it doesn't mean you didn't sin the day you engaged in lottery.
Okay, thank you, Doc. We have just 10 minutes to wrap up. And there is one very important question here that I also wanted to ask. So with all what we have said, someone says, how can I stop betting, sports bets to be specific? I'm trying, but I can't. So what do we do? Our youth, our siblings who are already gotten themselves indulged in this, how do we help them? What do we do?
All right, I honestly wanted to include this aspect in this evening's presentation. Unfortunately, the objective and the topic didn't allow. So I think I should probably sneak it in here because it's about addiction. And this one is not only about addiction to betting or any form of gambling, but addiction to anything. If you are addicted to something, what it means is that you are trying to stop and it is not working. You simply find yourself, you try and it's not working. It has become so part of you. So the first step to stopping an addiction is one, willingness to stop. Many people may hear a presentation like this and they want to stop, but they really don't want to stop. Like it's not real, but the first step is the willingness. If you have that willingness, then we can move into the next step, which is the pragmatic steps. And so these pragmatic steps begin with identifying your trigger. What makes you even go into it? So once you identify the trigger, you cannot run away from it. So for example, my trigger is the whatever betting, maybe app on my phone or something. Do away with it. In fact, if it is even possible for you to stop using a smartphone for a while, you need to do that because you know exactly what you are about. If you have to delete certain applications from your phone, you may need to do that because you know what you are about. You do that until once you do that, it means something has come out from your life. Like you have identified a trigger, 1 year free, you should replace it with something else. Now, in terms of betting, the idea is money. So you should replace it with another money generating, godly money generating venture. Because once you keep getting money, you would be able to forget Sadiana Hawaii every honor. And then as you continue doing that, so you take it, you create the gap, you fill the gap with something good, you get busy doing something good, and as time goes on, you are likely to be able to stop. You also need help. There are times that you need to talk to a counselor, you need to talk to Obia, Obetimi Abuao. Most of the time we rely on ourselves alone, and that one leads to more trouble.
Okay, thank you, Doc. I'm very clear. It's not easy to deal with an addiction, but I mean, once you have the will, I think that is the major or the first step to be able to overcome. Thank you. Our next question is, if I invest in my bet company without any greedy intention, I don't know how we establish whether you have a greedy intention or not, but however, my returns as profits are as a result of other gamblers' greed. One, are my returns ungodly? Can such returns be accepted by the church? What if the church's principles need updates?
Okay, so the church's principle, as I read it, is as old as the year 2000. In fact, the statement I read is as old as the year 2000. If there is any update that may be needed, then the update may have to be biblical. Okay, the church accepting any returns, like I said, the church does not see dirty money. If you get money and you bring it to the church, we would accept, but we will not solicit money from any activity that we see to be sinful. This question can be rightly asked regarding any other sinful venture. Can I, for example, get a group of prostitutes and sponsor them, their address and whatnot, so that it is a sinful venture that you are investing in. You are helping that business to flourish. I'm sorry, you may not be greedy, but you are helping greed.
Okay, thank you, Doc. The rest I see here are just comments, just to buttress what you said. iPhone 2, can you speak now? You said your hand is still up. We have just 5 minutes. So you speak, and then Perdita, we take the last comment or question from Perdita, please.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the whole conversation. It's very important that we have such conversations from time to time. I like one thing you said, that you weren't given a list, or you weren't going to categorize a certain group of activities so that people will be focused on it. And that is smart. I would also want to recommend that we don't vilify other processes, because, and this is why I say so, in the economic world, you have to be pretty much a shark in a fish pond to make profit. Based on the whole conversation that you're saying, you don't have to have a greedy intent. You have to have some sort of greed or level of smartness to be able to make profits in any business endeavor. So, example, you're saying, don't put money in a lottery. I would look at it as casually investing in a long-term return. It's one Ghana cedi a time. But I know for once that when it hits, it will hit. That could be a long-term investment. That is not necessarily greed, because there's a chance that I might win. There's a 99% chance I will not win, yes, but I will take my 1% chance. Same thing applies to investments. You have to be smart, because you're saying that don't go greedy. Not all hard work necessarily pays. Sometimes being smart at work pays more than being hard. So let's not focus on the fact that certain things are sin. That's my personal opinion. I'd rather we say, consider what you're making, the investment you're making. Is it worth your while and your money? Because you're right, you could invest in it for 20 years and you make 0 Ghana cedis. Or you can invest in it one time. Like GameStop a couple of months ago, it was about 50 cents per share. And within 4 days, it went up to 150. Those who were smart in that week to invest in GameStop made their money. A week later, it crashed, but they had made their money. Would that be considered a lottery, or would that be considered being a smart businessman? That's my question.
Okay, thank you, iPhone 2. I thought we were wrapping up on this one, but Doc, can you do it in 2 minutes for us, please?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Probably less. Yes, I appreciate that.
All right.
We don't vilify anything, but the truth of the matter is, if you ought to be smart, that means you ought to identify opportunity. The Bible talks about investing, talks about casting your bread, on the waters, and then you shall find it after many days and all that. Casting your bread upon the waters or investing actually comes without any greedy intent. Now, let me explain this. If you put bread in water, what happens is that it will sink when it gets soaked. In other words, you are not getting it again. So he's simply saying, invest and don't expect any returns. But, in the next, he says, don't just do it once. Don't invest in only one place. Do it in 7 places. In other words, do it in many places. Who knows if one of them will yield something? That's a biblical principle. So the biblical principle of investment is important. But where your investment is driven by a desire to be rich, is driven by smart, as in you are getting something that is not really making money, but you are more or less in quotes cheating on some people to make that money. And it has the tendency of destroying you. Yeah, you may talk about one CD. Sure, and maybe you can say, oh, I am doing it and all that. The truth of the matter is that the day you will win, you may win and get more than how much you have invested, and you may win and get less than how much you have invested. But the tendency to be addicted to it is another aspect that needs to be considered. So yes, I agree with you. It all boils down to intention, and that is the reason I find it difficult to give you a list. But once it is lottery, then you may have to be careful about it as a Seventh-day Adventist.
Okay, thank you very much, Doc. Our time is up, but Perdita is our treasurer. She may slap a fine on me if I don't call her. So Perdita, please, your question, very brief, so that Doc can answer. Okay, thank you.
First, I'm touching on me. Person in Busa say, "I'm say, oh, submission of my way say, Sikano, irrespective of how I benya, ebet me diaba, so whether it's out of prostitution, whether it's out of gambling or whatever, church in the say obeje because they be an onim. Me Busa say, wouldn't it have any effect on the growth of the church? Because where the means of getting the money to support projects, support tithe, support this and that, no. And have you any, a friend is saying, effect on the growth of the church when it takes the spiritual aspect of our discussion? My question.
All right, thank you for this question. The truth is that the fact say members are engaging in sinful ventures. Okay, I mean, members are in prostitution, members are in selling of alcohol, selling pigs, or whatever form of business. The fact that members alone is affecting the growth of the church. You know, in other words, the church is spiritually bankrupt. That is the point. However, no interest. You see, money, once it is, you can go into a bad venture and not make money at all. All right. And in our church, you know, the principle is, yes, this is somebody who has brought money. And that's why we take tithe even from non-members. Or kaso de tithe so you have no business saying menye. That one. But if the person is a member and is engaged in Bibia Airborne, you bet to me at discipline as a member because we want the church to grow. But so long as the money is concerned, one thing we need to note is that you are not giving it to anybody. And so me, Josiah Andor, I don't have any right to say no, Papa we sika de menji because sikadru. I'm not God. The money is coming to God. Let him bring it to God. Say nyame be shiranu, nyame shiranu is not my case. And that is why sometimes I tell members, don't look at what the church is doing and say because church, you know, yes, and I say, I will not bring the money that is due. You are not bringing it to the leaders. You are not bringing it to the church. You are giving it to God because Ujidi say, it's as simple as that. The money doesn't contribute to the spiritual growth of the church. Nipa sorry demono subai and contributed to the spiritual growth of the church. So yes, the effect on the growth of the church is on the lifestyle of people, but not the money that the people bring to the church.
There are some interesting comments on the chat box. Okay, thank you, Doc. I'm really sorry we can't take any more questions. Our time is, we've really gone beyond by 5 minutes. Time I allocated in your trim, I can't take any questions. I really apologize for that. Mefre, chapter president, MG Richard Gidisu, no one my closing remarks. Before that, I would like to apologize. Recording of the session, we should have seek consent from you guys, but we didn't. See, I really apologize for that. Would make the recording available for everybody to be able to catch up on the points. So I leave the floor for MG Richard Gidiso. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, it'll be for your time and the privilege to come together and to listen to pastors' word on this critical topic. I mean, Doc, we can only ask for more, but this is what we can do for now. And we thank our pastor and thank all members for making this program a success. Indeed, lottery is a gamble, and I pray, sir, we would get the power from above to desist from it. Doc, thank you for honoring our invitation tonight. God bless you and give you more wisdom. Thank you all.
Amen. Okay, thank you for having me.
Right. Okay. Before I bet take in closing prayer, there are a couple of announcements, actually two to be precise. We'll take them. Not we are free in your pedita, not the closing prayer. First announcement from the Tema Central District. There is a district week of prayer from November 7th to 13th, which is in 2 weeks' time. Theme near when all power is gone. Time near from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Tema Community 6 SDA Church. Speaker near Pastor Kwabnachum. Inti Pamchoin and I so. And here say there will be a harvest to raise funds for evangelism gadgets. The program will be live on Zoom and Facebook, and the links will be sent out accordingly. Second announcement, in 2021 youth camp, it's coming off in December, but it's going to be non-residential, just a year because of the COVID situation. In penny for the details, never bring in the course in due time. These are the announcements that we have. Young coordinator and a post here to page so just to for us to be able to catch up and re-emphasize. My prayer, Sister Pedita, not the closing prayer, no, am I?
Sure. A quick reminder before I say Yabebon Pay. In I have some of my members on the page. Mr. Mademand has ended, and as usual, the dues has to come. And at the funeral contribution, if I'm a child, you tell a friend, My number is still active for Momo. Happy Sabbath to you all. Let's pray.
Pedita, Sabbath, and I would die a casado.
This is not gambling. Neither is it. Neither is it betting. It's in order, yes.
I think just a quick one. Next month, we just have about some 2 weeks to go for our Master Guide rally. So let's register and represent ourselves as a chapter. Thank you.
All right. I'm telling me, mom, for me, the ram made us in your panel bamboo. Ishaya nam mpenifo edehye to ho maaye say ye mebu ye mesua bibi emfa mbo ye bra emfa ntu ye hofo no nam wadom so enam wakọ aso amanimdiye kese amanyumre ode amaye nkwa ne ye kase odi na asidanka yɛsrɛ nyinaa ne sɛ nsɛm a yɛte yɛfa ho nsusuyɛ ɛɛden deɛ nanso boa yɛ ntimi ngyina ma wo ne ntimi fa nsusuyɛ pa mfiri nsɛm a wakoa de ama yɛn mu na yɛnka ho sɛ nhyira nyinaa fi Onyankopɔn hɔ na boa yɛn awieyɛ bere mu ɛwɔ yɛahokyerɛ bere mu ɛne yɛahohiahia bere mu nyame yɛ adom a ɔkyena baakɔsom wɔ hyiadan mu hwɛ yɛ so anadwo yi kɔsi sɛ ade pa bɛkye yɛn yɛkɔhyia de wo na ase ne wayɛ yi ama wo ɛda wo ase Christ Jesus din mu nti amen.
Amen.
Uncle Boss,
Amen.
Amen.
yɛnkasa wɔ akyire wae Mr. Gidisu.
Okay.
Okay, nti aha na yɛde program no nyinaa bɛsi. Thank you